Wait, hold on, hold on. Can we win right here? Let's see. Pride of Conquerors, so that means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Oh, I think we might be able to win. Can we win? I think we won. Okay, let's see. Brave the elements. White. Pride of Conquerors. Oh, we think we did it here. Swing. We beat Angels. Hello my fiery friends, the Infernoman here with the latest in budget deck technology. And for today's deck tech, we're going to be looking at, once again, another old school classic in terms of deck archetypes. So we're going to be taking a deck into the Explorer format to see, is it possible to put together a bunch of cheap little 1 and 2 drops and overwhelm our opponent and smash our way to victory? Well, there's only one way to find out, so follow me on this journey as we take into the Explorer format a deck I'm simply calling Weenies Revenge. Alright, you know the drill, everybody. Without further ado, let's talk about the stats of the deck before we jump right into it. So, we're looking at the Explorer format as a mono white deck with an average mana curve of about 1.4. We're rocking 29 creatures total in the deck and 13 non-creature spells. Specifically, it's going to be 6 instants, 7 enchantments, and 18 lands. Any of you who have been around for the longest time at the beginning of my channel know that I put together a while ago a super cheap, basically no rare version of mono white Ascend, which is basically a white Weenies deck, but of course, now we have to look at the deck again because we got some sweet new cards that we can possibly add into this deck and give it a lot more power than ever before. So with that, the idea behind a mono white aggro / white weenie style of deck is you want to try to put out as many 1 drops and 2 drops as possible, stay super cheap and low to the ground, and flood the board, overwhelming your opponent, and then usually getting a pump spell or a protection spell to ensure that we can get to our victory. With that, why are we looking at white weenies in this day and age?
Good question.
Well, the main reason for that is we had a really sweet new card added from the wilds of Eldraine, Regal Bunnicorn. So, this 2 mana Rabbit Unicorn says its power and toughness are equal to the number of non-land permanents you control. That's basically it. That's just the card. So in other words, if we can flood the board with a bunch of, say, tokens from the Sorcerer role here from Spellbook Vendor, which we'll talk about in a second, if we can then add in a bunch of other stuff like as Legion's Landing, which creates vampire creature tokens and can flip from an enchantment into a land, we can basically make a giant bunny that can of course overwhelm our opponent and of course get us a super sweet victory.
I am not a weenie.
Relax, you're among friends.
The biggest issue, however, with Bunnicorn is there's no way to ensure we can get the damage through. It becomes a big creature, but there's not really anything else we can do with it. So we're going to need a little bit of other ways to kind of get around that. So with that, also from the wilds of Eldraine, we have Cheeky House Mouse. This is a cute little card, but basically this card is a 2/1 old school Savannah Lions in 2023 basically, but its other ability has Squeak By. So its adventure side simply reads, target creature you control gets +1/+1 until end of turn. It can't be blocked by creatures with a power of 3 or greater this turn. So in other words, if we could say maybe put this pump onto the Bunnicorn and maybe your opponent has a giant, I don't know, giant green creature, or maybe it's that Shieldred, we can ensure that we can force through the damage and get to our victory with that. However, remember that Regal Bunnicorn, however, will get weaker if we don't have any creatures or non-land permanents to flood the board with. So that's ideally how you want to play this is you want to try to get, again, as much as possible out to ensure that the Bunnicorn can go super tall. But of course, since this is white weenies, we have the ability, of course, not just to rely on the Bunnicorn, but of course the old school way of just flooding, as I mentioned earlier, by going Y. So we're going to need a ton of token makers also to create a bunch of other non-land permanents. Cartouche Solidarity does this for us. Attached to a creature, you get a 1/1 warrior creature token. Legion's Landing will also, as I mentioned earlier, create that 1/1 white vampire creature token with lifelink. Lifelink is great because it does help us stabilize. We're an aggro deck, but we can't afford to have too much life gain in the deck. We're ideally focusing on just flooding the board with a bunch of non-land permanents. To dig through the mid game, we also have Recruitment Officer, a 2/1 that basically can also pay for 4 to start digging through our deck for more creatures. Stumphorn Sentry, as I mentioned earlier, is actually a pretty sweet little early game blocker, but it can pump itself up to become a 3/3 as long as, again, we have 10 or more permanents on the battlefield to get the city's blessing. Thraben Inspector, old school classic here, great card, decent blocker in the early game. It creates for us a clue creature token, which does count for Regal Bunnicorn's ability, and also that clue token, in a pinch, also helps us draw a card to get some more action going. Clarion Spirit is also a pretty sweet card here. We also don't have that many lands to cast off with, so again, its secondary ability basically to allow us to create a bunch of spirit tokens is great, but we're probably not going to cast that much each single turn. However, a couple extra spirits doesn't hurt us. We have a light bit of removal with Kabira Takedown here. It also flips into a tap land if we need that in a pinch. Pride of Conquerors and Brave the Elements are basically going to be our finishers for the deck. Use Brave the Elements primarily as a protection spell, but also you can utilize it to force through damage against certain creature-colored decks out there. Pride of Conquerors is a lot more aggressive, however, and you do need the City's Blessing, however, to get the max value out of it. But again, with this and say a couple of Flying Spirits can also ensure we can get that victory. We also have to finish it off, Resolute Reinforcements, gives us again a token when it enters the battlefield to double itself up. And another spicy little inclusion right here. To be honest, I don't know if this is actually going to work, but I honestly believe in theory this should be really solid for us. Spellbook Vendor. So this Human Peasant 2/2 has Vigilance, and it also says at the beginning of combat on your turn, you may pay 1. When you do, you create a Sorcerer role token attached to a target creature you control. As for what the token does, it basically says that the enchanted creature gets +1/+1 and has whenever this creature attacks, scry 1. Don't underestimate that ability. By creating those roll tokens for us, it does count towards Bunnycorn's ability, so that means it will get pumped up even more. And the scry effect is actually pretty sweet, along with that pumping ability, which makes all of our little white weenies a little bit stronger and a little bit hard to deal with against our opponent. Otherwise, since we are a budget deck out there, we have to only rock simple plains. 18 is all you need. Again, we're super low to the ground, so that's going to be sweet for us. As far as your sideboard is concerned, you're going to have to mix and match depending on what your opponent is playing with in the best of 3. If you're playing in best of 1, this honestly is going to come down to your personal preference, but I did have a little bit of flexibility here so that way you don't have to radically change the deck over too much. If you are dealing with a lot more aggro, you can take out the Brave the Elements and add in the other copies of Pride of Conquerors. If you are worried about Wrath Protection, you also have Make a Stand. It's a little bit more expensive because it's a 3-drop, but again, it does help us in a pinch and it still gives us a little bit of extra pump. If you don't want to deal with any kinds of creatures, or if maybe your opponent is not using that many, you can also switch out the Sajiri Shelter with the Kabira Takedown to make sure you have a little bit more protection for your creatures, and it still perfectly mirrors it because it's also a tap land in a pinch. As far as your graveyard hit, you have Tormod's Crypt. Again, super low to the ground, it's a free card and also can help trigger off Clarion Spirit. We also have Deafening Silence against combo decks out there and control decks to make sure that they stay in, well, control, I guess. But in any case, the final card to round us out is Cathar Commando. It's a creature, it has flash, decent attacker actually, but if you need to, it can also sack itself to destroy an artifact or enchantment we just don't want to deal with. Otherwise, that's basically the whole deck for you. It's again, not anything super fancy, just bare bones, straight up attacking as much as you can. Protect your creatures when you're able to, and then pump up your creatures to get to victory, or overwhelm them with a giant bunny to finish them off. Is White Weenies still capable of doing its thing in 2023 despite all the nonsense that this format has gotten? Well, there's only one way to find out. So I don't know about you, but I'm feeling pretty optimistic about this deck. So let's go ahead, let's take this into the format and see how well it does. But before we continue, if you do like any of the content that I do, please like, follow, and subscribe wherever you watch the content so you don't miss out on any of the gameplay, booster pack openings, deck decks, and so much more. Alright, my fire friends, here we go. We are playing our White Weenies Revenge. Can we outdo decks like Convoke or Humans? We're about to find out right now. So with that, we do have our Legion's Landing, Draven Inspector, Resolute Reinforcements. Okay, so we have a decent amount of things that'll help us go wide. Let's keep this hand, and hopefully our opponent, at least they hopefully won't have Wraths, but I guess we'll find out. So with that, we'll have Plains, Legion's Landing, make our White Vampire creature token, and we go. Alright, what's our opponent doing? Oh, I think they're mono white life gain. Well, this is going to be interesting. So with that, Plains, we will then play, what do we do here? I think we will play Draven Inspector. Make a token. Cartouche of Solidarity on top of our other token. Makes it a 2/2 with First Strike and Lifelink. So we get a little bit of life ourselves back. We should be able to flip also this Legion's Landing, so this can help us start creating a bunch of tokens. Pathway Land. Okay. So what does this mean? Okay, so they're playing Angels. Well, can we beat Angels? I guess we're going to see right here. So with that, we're going to swing here and see what they do. Flip our Legion's Landing. No blocks. Gain some life. They're down to 14. We will play Spellbook Vendor, and we will end turn. Alright, so our opponent needs to go off here very quickly, or we may be able to close this out also pretty fast. They got their Pathway Land. Is a certain angel I expect coming down. Is it the Valkyrie? There it is. Righteous Valkyrie like they always do. Of course they have it. Totally not mad about that. Okay, they gain some life back. Do they swing? They do not. So that means resolute reinforcements coming in. Makes a token. Well, we're actually pretty wide right here, which is actually really sweet for us. We'll sacrifice the clue to draw a card and see what we get. Ooh, Brave the Elements. That actually might help us. Wait, hold on. Can we win right here? Let's see. Pride of Conquerors. So that means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Oh, I think we might be able to win. Can we win? I think we won. Okay, let's see. Brave the Elements. White. Pride of Conquerors. Oh, we think we did it here. Swing. We beat Angels! Wow, just barely beat Angels here. Unbelievable. But that was the dream, everybody. Alright, my fiery friends, here we go. We are playing our White Weenies Revenge deck in Explore. And with that, let's see. We got 2 planes, which is fine. We do have our Bunnycorn and Regal Resolute Reinforcements. Wow, I can't say words. Okay. Legion's Landing and a Protection Spell. So this looks solid enough where we can get through with what we have. So with that, we'll play Legion's Landing. Make our Vampire token. And here we go. Opponent's playing... Oh, okay. So I guess they're playing Angels also. We're really dealing with Angel decks today. Kind of annoying, but that's fine. We can deal with them. We swing with our... Because obviously they're not going to block. Giada. No attack from our opponent, of course. Planes. We will Cartouche of Solidarity. This pumps up the Bunnycorn again, making it pretty formidable here. Resolute Reinforcements. Alright, this is what we're talking about, everybody. This is exactly what you want the deck to do. Nice. Okay, well, our opponent's now almost down. They're going to have to really make a comeback here. Oh, jeez. Okay. Righteous Valkyrie again. They always have it on that in their hand. Every time. I don't get it, but that's okay. We have... Ooh, we have removal. Okay, so I think... Takedown. Alright, Angel down, everybody. Swing with these 2. I realized actually we could have... We had lethal there, I realized. Oh, that's okay. We set ourselves up for next turn. That's okay, everybody. They're down to 9. They need to gain a ton of life here if they want to win. A tap land means they do not have... Oh. Oh, dear. Wait, the Bunnycorn's going to go away. Wait, hold on. We can still protect ourselves here. So, with that... This is going to be awkward because this does mean we do lose the Cartouche. But that saved us for a turn here. Okay, 3-bit Inspector. So with that, 3-bit Inspector. And we will swing with everything. It flips. Skyclave is blocked. That's a choice. Skyclave down, everybody. I can't believe we actually just misplayed that. Wow, I'm really dumb here. Please don't yell at me in the comments, everybody. That was a bad move on my mistake. Opponents. Okay, they have Bishop of Wings. So that means they don't have the Collected Company yet, which is good for us. That does buy us time. Down to 20. Resplendent Angel. Oh boy, they gained some life here, unfortunately. But that's okay. We have to keep going wider here. Okay. Ooh, Cheeky House Mouse. Wait, does that help us out? Okay, I think Bunnycorn now forces its way through. Cheeky House Mouse. Down. We swing here. And we got through Angels, everybody. Oh, man, that was beautiful. They can't block it because of what we just did. We got there. Oh, that was beautiful, everybody. Wow. Once again, we fought our way through Angels via a really unconventional way. This deck actually is not too shabby. Alright, my fiery friends, here we go. We are playing White Weenies Revenge here in Explorer. And, okay, so we have Spellbook Vendor, we have the Regal Bunnycorn, and we have a decent amount of stuff. Maybe this might be enough. I don't know, but I think we're going to try to keep this. Anyway, put this down, a Plains, and a Snubhorn Sentry. If nothing else, we have a decent blocker for the early game. Spire Bluff Canal. Alright, well, with that, Plains, and do we put down the Bunnycorn now? Alright, well, I think we're just going to have to give it a try here and see what they do. If I'm guessing, they might be either Arclight Phoenix or some kind of combo deck. Consider. They threw away a land. No attacks. Ideally, if they could tap out right here, then we'd be in a really good spot. Third path. Ooh, okay. So they're going to try to go wide here. That's interesting. Not what I was expecting, but I'll take it. Spellbook Vendor. Regal Bunnycorn does get pumped up here. We will pay the 1. This allows us now to put a token on there. We go swinging here. We get to scry. Okay, do we want to keep the land? I think we don't need the land. We need to go wider. So, well, the deck is actually pulling it's working right now, as intended. This is actually pretty sweet. But we have to see if we can go wider than our opponent faster. The only downside to our plan, however, is their tokens, unfortunately, don't make any colored creatures, which Brave the Elements awkwardly doesn't get around. But that's okay. We're still going to make it work, everybody. So with that, Resolute Reinforcements. We pump up our Bunnycorn. We then will pay 1 again. Do you have removal of... Oh, they have a bounce spell. Well, that's very annoying, but that's okay, everybody. We still have time. If nothing else, we need to just be able to block. We're very close to actually going off and finishing off our opponent here. We do have our spells here that can help us out. Oh, they have a Strangled. Well, annoying, but this is fine. We still have time, everybody. Alright, Plains. Put the Plains down. Regal Bunnycorn. Snubhorn Sentry. Now we have the City's Blessing, which is great. And I guess we're going to have to pass here. That's okay, everybody. We have now at least a couple of things here that can help us get through the next part of this. We just need to survive. Alright, they choose nothing. Alright, so with that, Plains. It may seem a little awkward here, because we still have 2 cards we have to deal with our opponent might be having. Fading Hope. Okay, well, again, that's kind of awkward for us. Unfortunately, getting it bounced back was not good, but that's okay. This is fine, everyone. We still can get through. Balmore. Oh, okay. Well, this is now where it's going to be a little scary, everybody, but that's okay. With that, Cartouche. Snubhorn back down. We'll put this on top of the Bunnycorn. As we'll see here, they do not. No swings yet. I want to make sure we have at least a way to push this through. Opponent making more tokens, and there they go. Now they're starting to go off here. It's going to be a little scary, but we can still survive. Swinging with everything. Wait, how much is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. We need to be able to block some things here. That's all we can block for now. A couple tokens down out of the way can help us out now. Ooh, cheeky. We will, on the Bunnycorn, put down the cheeky House Mouse. We will Brave the Elements. Now we swing. We unfortunately have to swing now because we don't have enough time to just finish off the rest of our opponent's stuff. And the pump. Wow, they had a Spell Pierce.
Well, this stinks.
That was horrible. Well, that probably means now we're not going to survive the next turn. We came very close, everybody. We came very close here, but that's okay. Opponent will do their swing here. Unfortunately, though, we just can't survive this. Well, that's unfortunate, everybody. That's okay. Of course, their deck is going to go way wider than us, so maybe we just didn't have what it takes there, but that's okay. It is what it is. And there you have it, everybody. So that was our White Weenies Revenge for you in Explorer. And let me know in the comments below, what do you think? Would you play this deck in any way, shape, or form? Truth be told, it actually ran well, much better than I thought it was, which was making me very happy. But let's be honest with ourselves here. We ran better than we expected, and we're still not as optimal as I like to think we are. Truth be told, the deck actually does have a lot of major issues versus, say, the Convoke deck out there, or maybe other token decks. And the main reason for it is we are a little bit on the slow side, and we have to hope that our opponent doesn't have any wrath or removal. You'll notice that again in that one match we had, we got outdone by tokens, so we are going to be a lot slower than them. And again, the other thing I would mention is, while we can do well against fair decks, against, say, control decks out there, which you didn't get a chance to see much footage of, we really will get destroyed. So just keep that in mind again if you wanted me to be super transparent about you with this deck. Having said that, I'm still enjoying this deck. It is definitely going to be a different variant of some of the other mono white decks out there. Normally in the next section is where we introduce you to some kind of alternate upgraded version of the deck. This time around, we're actually not going to do that. And there's a major reason why, because if you've seen already some of my previous videos, there already is a pretty awesome deck out there in the form of mono white convoke or boros convoke. If you like this idea of going wide, but also pumping your creatures up, that's probably going to be a much more better option. You probably could find a way to wedge in there Regal Bunnycorn, which can also help you again solve one of the problems that deck has, which is you don't have an option of going big. Instead, you have an option of only going wide. Also, the other option you can give if you're into mono white aggro decks in general is just play mono white humans. I know that's something that doesn't sound as glamorous and much or as innovative as say what we played today, but that's honestly going to be the most conventional if you're into playing something that's a bit more meta focused. So those are the only things I just want to leave you with regarding that. And with that, here are my final thoughts. Overall, the deck still has what it takes to get some wins, but honestly, it's been outclassed by mono white humans and boros convoke, to be perfectly blunt. However, if you're a person like me who still kind of yearns for the old school way of how we played Magic, if you're still a fan of these kinds of archetypes and you do want to try something that's a little bit of a blast from the past, even if it's only been like about 5-6 years since this type of deck has been a thing, definitely give this deck a try. And I assure you, when you get your wins out of nowhere, when you can beat your opponent down with a giant bunny, I assure you, you'll have a lot of fun when you do it. You'll be so satisfied to do so, and you'll not be disappointed. That's all I have for you today. Thanks again for watching, everyone. And just remember that no matter what you do play in the game of life, always be sure to burn bright. Later.